Happy Monday and welcome to another One Man's Trash official trash report. Progress has been made over the weekend. I spent a lot of time getting set up to record drums, and yesterday we got 3 tracks cut on drums. But here's the thing. I'm going to set this aside for right now and address an issue that has come up recently with a list. I'm going to call you a listener because I'm an old radio dog, and I've got a new friend, Joshua, that has been contacted me through YouTube. By the way, I always wondered how these YouTubers got to know each other. So he kind of contacted me with a question and talking about some stuff, and we've been exploring. I've been checking out his music, and so he's been sort of asking me questions and curious about what my deal is. So I thought that I would address that a little bit because I sort of just started this YouTube channel as a way to keep my producer, Stacy, informed about what I'm doing on the daily. And I didn't really contemplate, it growing. Or I don't really care about that. That's not really why I'm doing it. It's more like just to hang out and be myself and talk about the progress on the record, and then maybe by some twist of fate someone will give a damn about the record when it comes out, and I might get a couple of spins and make 50 cents if 10,000 people play the record. So that's kind of where I am, but let me just sort of start from the beginning. My name's Jeff Bell. I'm an old radio dog. I'm celebrating my 40th anniversary behind the microphone this year. And I started when I was 18 in a small town in Arkansas and just worked my way through up into the major markets. And did I just say through up? Yeah, that's a little radio for you. But anyway, just kind of worked my way into the major markets, into Dallas, Miami, Chicago, and ended up in Milwaukee. And then I've been doing voiceover for the last 22 years. And you've probably heard me on a lot of Ford commercials. Now get an F-150 with 0% financing for 60 months at your local Ford dealer. That kind of shit. So that's the story on me. But over the course of the last 30 years, after I'd been in the radio business for about 10 years, and after my first divorce, I had some free time that I wasn't unaccustomed to, and I had to sort of figure out who I was. And I started spending a lot more time singing and writing songs, and I had, a lot of raw emotion from the divorce and from not spending every day with my child as I had been before, my son. And then I had this free time, so I started writing songs, and then I've met these guys, and the band thing started, and One Man's Trash became a thing. And I worked afternoons, so I had all day to hit the gym and do other stuff, show prep and that sort of thing, and I'd spend a lot of time during the day singing and learning to sing and teaching myself to sing and sort of figuring out what I wanted to say musically. And I would have these ideas. Of course, my mind was always racing to come up with ideas for my radio show. So same thing with music. I would have a word idea or a thought, a sentence or something, and just flesh it out into a whole song. So that's kind of how One Man's Trash started. It wasn't really forced. It wasn't forced in any way. So that's kind of what I've been talking about with Joshua, is he's trying to sort of suss out who he is musically. And I think that the key to that is to allow yourself to be without judgment, because when I started writing songs, first of all, I don't know much about music theory at all. I was in band as a kid, and in 8th and 9th grades. And I learned how to read music and all that stuff for band instruments. Guitar is a lot harder because there's a lot more stuff on the page, So, but all of the songwriting is completely organic, and it comes from just sort of hanging out and doing my thing, and just if I have an idea, I work with it and I try to expose it. If I hear like a hook, like a song hook in the air, in my mind, wherever, I'll try to expose it in both directions. What is the setup to the hook and what is the premise of the whole story? And that's kind of how my songwriting, it doesn't come from, let's take the key of D and go 1, 4, 5. I don't know about that stuff. I'm learning that stuff. I learned a lot of that from the Nashville Cats when I lived there. And I still spend time with the Nashville Cats, so I'm still learning all that stuff. But that's not how One Man's Trash came to be. It was just an authentic, raw expression. First of all, it started when the John Hyatt record came out with Slow Turnin', called Slow Turnin'. It came out in 1988, I believe, at the end of that year, and I was working in Dallas, and I was doing the promos for the radio station. So they gave me this song. Redbeard gave me this song to record with on the promo, and I'm like, this is a great song. So that whole record is kind of what prompted me to think about being a songwriter and just writing whatever I felt and thought, without judgment and without really processing it too much. Just go with it, because look, I'm not going to be a rock star. I'm not going to be going on tour. I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident even then that wasn't going to be a big giant issue in my life, that I was going to be swept away into that world of, rock stardom and stuff. I would love to have a couple of songs take off, either as a writer or as a singer. Who cares? That'd be fun. But that's not the point, and that's not the point of this. The point of this is the same as the point of doing that songwriting process. This is a way for me to experience my authentic self as an artist and as a speaker. When you're doing the voiceover business, they send you what to say, and you have to find some way to act or to behave as though that's your authentic words. And it's not, it's just not, and that's a weird thing. So this is my way of getting more in touch with who I think I am, because, basically I was a child and then I became a radio announcer. Like literally, that happened overnight. And then I've processed the world from behind a microphone for 40 years. And then I've also been this artist type of person, and those two people are similar but not the same. And my artist guy has become a little more, a little more of a redneck and a little more of a hee-haw style performer over the years. And that's not forced. That's just me having fun and being silly with my music and other people's music, and the fact that I like this hammer-claw style of playing in sort of a banjo style leads me to want to do songs that are in that vein and that are, basically hillbilly songs mostly. So anyway, that's beside the point. That guy that I become when I do music pulls me out of the mundane life that we all are forced to lead, going to work and all that crap. And he's a character, and he's a little over the top, and he's funny, and he's usually in a good mood, and he sort of pushes me in that direction. So I use him in the morning to sort of get me laughing and being silly and awake, and it gets my lungs and my chest muscles and all that stuff warmed up, and then I'm ready to do voiceover. So I just want to give you a quick kind of rundown of what the point and the premise of all this is, because Joshua said to me he thought at first that I was trolling, that I was, that this was all bullshit. And there's a little bit of truth to that, because, I don't even have a website for the band right now. I got a couple records on Spotify. One Man's Trash is the name of the band. Not to be confused with a Jamie Jamerson record that they put out after he passed away, but sometimes they get muddled up on my page. Anyway, that's a whole different story. But I just wanted to kind of check in with Joshua and give him sort of an idea of what I'm doing here and how this is an expression of my authentic self and how it keeps me in touch with who I feel like I really am. Because being an announcer and talking into microphones and saying my own thoughts and being a kook, that was a big part of my life for 18 years. That was 6 days a week. You don't shut that shit off, that's in there. And all my friends are fucking nuts. Everything, all my radio friends are kooks. So kookier than the damn musicians, So this is baked into me, and it's part of my authentic self, and it comes out through my other character, who is an extension of that also. But that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just giving you an idea of who I am. And basically I was just kind of keeping tabs on the progress of the record, but I'm also using this to keep in touch with myself and be my authentic self when I go in the booth to do some voiceover work and I have to pretend to be somebody else, I'm at least grounded in who I think I am. And this is really, to me, my friend Leanne, who was my first lead guitar player in One Man's Trash, she said, it's like hanging out with you. So that's what I want it to be, although I do feel like I'm sort of dominating the conversation. And I've been talking for like 10 minutes or something, so I should probably just shut up and let you who's even here at this point? Does anyone stay for this part of the show? Anyway, so that's what's going on with me. Appreciate you hanging out. I'm going to tell you about the drum sessions tomorrow, because I had great drum sessions and great fun, but I just tortured myself setting everything up, and I'm beat up, man. I'm beat up. So that's why I'm just laying low today and not doing much. But I just wanted to address that thing with Joshua, because I think that's a really interesting question and subject of what the fuck are we doing here? Well, I'm just trying to be myself and recognize myself as me, and not be saying other people's words all the time, just really being my authentic self. And I hope that you can do that too, because I think it's really important. And even, I'm sorry, my lights are, I bumped the camera. Everything's changing color because I'm in a dark room. Anyway, I'm going to run and let you get back to your life. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will have more about One Man's Trash and the progress on the record tomorrow. Rock forth.